so I think that adjustment was both a blessing and a curse. I mean, I didn't enjoy education until I did my PhD. It was always a means to an end at that point. I left home at 16 and started working in care homes for adults with learning disabilities. Um, and I found work the antidote to school, which is not always true for people. A lot of times, if you hate school, you hate work. I hated school, I loved work. So I had this kind of mission, if you like, to kind of make work as inclusive as possible so that more people could have that experience, because I would see around me all the time the effects of people who hated school, and mostly they were neurodivergent. And so that kind of absence from school period was distressing. It was isolating. It wasn't great socially. I absolutely was very psychiatrically distressed at that point, and it wasn't a great era for me. But I also see it as a point of privilege, actually, because if you think about that arrangement, going into school, getting my work and being allowed to take it home with no one giving my parents a hard time, well, do you know, if that isn't white privilege, I don't know what is. But also a privilege of the time, the era. There's no way that I would be able to do that now.
And this was in the UK?
Yeah, that was in the UK. It was in Southampton, in kind of, a city school in Southampton.
I mean, there's
yeah.
lots to unpick there already.
Yeah,
Yeah. From your perspective, when you're very reflective, as I know you are, you said it's a blessing and a curse. You were able to see others who were similar to yourself in terms of their approach, hating school, loving work. Were you aware?
Or just hating school and hadn't realised that work was something you could live, you could love,
Potentially because of the age in which they were.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
Okay.
or their backgrounds, do you know? Yeah.
Thinking about that now, what would you say would be the biggest lessons that propelled you for the career that you're about to have?
I think the major one is the waste of human potential. So when I left home at 16 and I was kind of living in bedsits, and I was living with a collection of people who I've recently started seeing in various guises. And, I feel so lucky that I met that group of people. I was a very vulnerable young woman, and I could have met any group of people at 16, 17. And actually what I met was a group of fairly neurodivergent misfits who were all struggling in their own way, but were all really safe, solid people. And I do feel very grateful for them, actually. But, a lot of them were struggling. A lot of them were trying and failing to do A-levels, trying and failing to start jobs. But I could see around me how much intellect and how much creativity and how much talent there was in that group of people. And I enjoyed the heck out of them. And I'm not very tolerant, do you know? So, they were they could have been a thriving bunch. And I just used to sort of think, why can't you find a way through into a job that suits you, and what could we do with you? What could we do with this writing ability you've got, this sculpture ability that you've got, this musical talent that you've got? So yeah, frustration, I think, at the number of people who just did not have any way to get a career path.